Hello and welcome to another game of Company of Heroes. I am Fancy Josh, and today we've got a game between Bertruger and what I'm going to call Tiger. Um, this player is actually listed as being from the US. I'm not sure if he is or not. And Bertruger is a Russian player. Both these players very, very highly rated at their respective armies. Bertruger is 71st as Warmer checked, but today he's playing as the OKW. So interested to see him play this different army. Let's talk about the map really quick. In order to be connected to both your fuel and your munitions, you need to control this point here. So we'll be seeing some players trying to steal this point away from one another, and likewise the British player wants to defend this point as his cutoff point. So both players have already chosen their commanders. Our British player has gone for the Lend-Lease Assault Regiment, which basically grants him call-ins that would be normally available to the American Army. The first one being the main one being this Assault Infantry section. Those Assault Infantry sections are close range. They come with SMGs. They can be upgraded to have the Thompson submachine guns. And this is really buggy. I can see the unit in this vehicle, but I can't select the unit inside of it. So he's getting close with this squad. He's going to dump him right out, and then he's going to deal a ton of damage to those Sturm Pioneers, because these things are super effective at close range.
A new infantry section is ready for battle.
Continuing to add on these infantry sections is the British player. He wants to be super, super aggressive with those. He does not care about the victory points at this early stage in the game. He is purely going for map control. He wants to control resources, deny them to his opponent, etc., etc. And continuing to chase this OKW player around the map. So other call-ins you can get with this Lend-Lease commander. You get access to this mobile 81mm mortar team. You get access to this M10 tank destroyer, half-track, and call-in for strafing support. I believe they shoot rockets and machine guns. Yes, they do. German player, on the other hand, has gone for the Elite Armored Doctrine. Probably going to see this 221 scout car sooner rather than later. It's a really popular choice. That's often why people choose this commander. Slightly later in the game, we'll probably see these Panzer commanders. Lets you call in artillery strikes from your tanks. It also increases their line of sight. You get access to these heat rounds as well, which deal increased damage to armored targets. And it can reduce the number of shots required to kill tanks, which is absolutely critical. I mean, every shot in a tank fight matters, and if you can kill them one shot sooner, that can give you a huge advantage. And finally, one of my favorite tanks that comes along with this commander is the Sturm Tiger. Sturm Tiger shoots a absolutely enormous rocket, completely annihilates anything in its path, but it's a high-risk, high-reward tank in the sense that it can only shoot one time. If you miss, you have to go reload for a minute. The reload process is manual, so it doesn't happen automatically, and the tank is extremely vulnerable while reloading. It can be killed by infantry while reloading. Really hope we get to see it this game. I am surprised that our German player has not added on a 221 scout car. Maybe he doesn't feel it's going to be effective this game. It's only 220 manpower, so I'm really surprised he hasn't chosen to add that on yet. Both players with roughly even control of the map. British players getting slightly more fuel per minute and slightly more munitions. German player trying to steal away this cutoff point that I was referring to earlier, but being pushed away by the infantry supports, the infantry section there. Raid section, rather. And this Volksgrenadier squad is not going to be able to stay in that building very long, and they're probably going to get out of here. Well done by the German. He's managed to decap the cutoff point, and he's denied all of those resources to his opponent. You can see that the British player is down to a mere 7 fuel per minute and 11 munitions. So, well done by him.
We've lost a squad of infantry.
Nice kill. The German killed a squad on retreat. I actually believe it was a section over here. Oh, he's going to get 2. Wow, that is really important. Anytime you can wipe squads like that is a really big deal. Now, at this early stage in the game, squad wipes aren't as critical as they will be later in the game. And the reason is that these squads haven't built any veterancy up yet, so despite the fact that he's lost 2 squads very early, he can bounce back from that. British player continuing to be annoying, keeping this German in his base, making him pay for cutting off his territory earlier. And the British player just captured the German player's cutoff point, so now the German player is down to a mere 7 fuel per minute. It is going to be an absolute bloodbath in the middle here. Here comes the Universal Carrier with a Vickers machine gun upgrade on it. Going to make it more effective against infantry. This raid section has been upgraded with those Thompson submachine guns, and they are absolutely going to shred this squad up close. He threw a smoke grenade there. That was actually a phosphorus grenade, which operates like a smoke grenade. Trying to get some squad wipes here is the German player. That squad's going to get out of there. I think they're going to make it. It's going to be really close. Oh, just barely. So while all that was happening, our British player did not capture his cutoff point, which I definitely think was a mistake. This whole time, they've both been on equal resource income, which it's okay, but I would, he didn't get as ahead as he could have after getting 2 squad wipes. OKW player is adding on a flak half-track. This thing is it's not exactly an offensive tool because it needs to set up before it can fire. So what we'll see it do is it'll drive into an area, it'll come to a complete stop, and then have a large firing arc, which you can see here. It's actually a very large firing arc, but the vehicle has to be at a complete stop. And this thing is a threat to everything the British player has right now, including that Universal Carrier. So, it looks like he's going to get something done up here. It's going to come to a stop there, and now it's going to just totally shred those infantry. And that squad's going to... So that squad stuck around just long enough to decapture the point, because again, he's trying to deny his opponent resources. So great use of these raid sections. What I really like about this particular squad is it has access to 2 different types of smoke grenades. It's got a regular smoke grenade and a phosphorus smoke grenade. And what it can do is it can force your opponent to walk into you, or it can cover your advance into your opponent's squads. And he tried to do it there, but this half-track was backing up the infantry, so it wasn't going to happen.
Emergency repair kits have been issued to all vehicle crews.
So I'm curious how our British player is going to respond to this flak half-track. This vehicle is going to give him pretty definitive control over this area for the foreseeable future. British players added on a Vickers machine gun, so he still has no anti-tank capabilities. I think he's planning to use his superior squad numbers to control as much of the map as he can and just basically avoid the issue that is this flak half-track. Big push from the British player here. He's got 4 squads involved. Those Sturm Pioneers are not going to want to be there for long, but this is a great setup by that flak half-track. And that's going to pretty much put a stop to this push, I think. Oh, nice hit. You know, somehow I completely missed the fact that our British player did, in fact, have an AT gun. So right on cue to push away that flak half-track. Now the British player just destroyed some bushes here so that his heavy machine gun can have a clear firing arc in this entire area. I love that by the British player, shaping the map to his will. For anyone that's curious, that's this destroy cover ability from those Royal Engineers. British player securing this cutoff point, again denying his opponent resources. Fortunately for the German player, he's actually still connected because of this this munitions point, so he's connected in an indirect way.
Sorry, but we're being bloody shot at!
Still like the effort by the British player to attempt that. And well done by the British player to keep this universal carrier alive. A lot of times, I mean, with light vehicles like that, you're going to see it get lost, and wow, that was a really nice play by the British player. He knew the retreat path that those Volksgrenadiers were going to take, and he got in the way and wiped the squad. Now that one matters a bit more than the previous squad losses, because that particular squad had Veteran C1. Again, our German player is continuing to struggle with manpower because he has to continuously replace these squads, which is much more expensive than just replacing squad members. Using the smoke to get that flak half-track out of there safely. That is a bold universal carrier. Can easily be destroyed by that flak half-track. And just barely gonna get out of there.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
Now this German player has added on an infantry support gun, which is effectively a mortar, and as you could see there, it was barraging this house, forcing that squad out of there. I don't mind that in this situation. I mean, when you're behind like that, sometimes you just need to get units out that you know you can get value from, and what I really like about that particular vehicle, support gun, is that it doesn't necessarily require a lot of micro. That isn't to say you can't micro it if you want to, but it's not required for the weapon to be effective. So, still a really even game. As you can see, both players, aren't even below 400 victory points yet. Both players have roughly equivalent incomes. British players ever so slightly ahead. And, I think he may have teched up. Yes, he did. So he has access to his medium tanks now. And he's got enough fuel to do some call-ins here. I'm not sure what he wants to do. Based on the fact that he hasn't already called in a tank, makes me think he might be going for hammer tactics into a Comet tank. You don't have to decide right away. If you don't need a tank, or if you don't need a unit on the field exactly at a certain moment, you can hold off spending those resources until you do need it. And trying to get that trying to get that squad on retreat, and this squad's going to need to run as well. This Thompson machine gun's just incredibly lethal up close. Nicely done by the British player to push away that flak half-track with his AT gun and then move his infantry in once he knew the flak track was out of there. Again, going for the cutoff point here. It's still not going to work because he doesn't control this point. But I really don't mind the effort. Because if he decaps this point and then walks over here and captures this point, that would deny those resources to his opponent. Yeah, like I was saying, it's not common to see light vehicles like this particular. I mean, that's a super light vehicle, the Universal Carrier. It's Vet 3, and it's got, how many kills is that? 16 kills. That is insane. And now it's probably dead. Panzerschreck? No Panzerschreck. Just wants to shoot it. I think that was a mistake. I think he was being a little greedy with his... Oh, he didn't have enough munitions. Oh, what a disaster for him. He could have killed that Universal Carrier there. If he had used the Panzerfaust ability. But like I said, he didn't have enough munitions for it. 25, yeah. He had 24 when I looked, so... Infantry support gun barraging this building, even though the heavy machine gun's already left. And that's, I mean, that's a great reason to pick up the support gun. If you know your opponent has stationary weapons like this, like a heavy machine gun, or even in some cases this
Supply half-track is in action. Standing by for setting of command post.
AT gun, you know, why not? Just get some value out of the out of that support gun. 0 kills, but plenty of damage done. So he is dealing damage. He is getting value from that. German player has pulled ahead slightly in resource income. He's also got control of 2, soon to be 3 of the victory points. Gonna start bleeding out the British player pretty quick here. And he's just roaming the map with both of these squads. Murdering German squads left and right. I mean, he's cleared 3, I think, at this point. Which is not unheard of, but, you know, good job by the... I'm happy to see this German player sticking it out. Sometimes when players lose that many squads that early, they will leave the game, understandably. The British players constructed a couple trenches here, which provide, you know, excellent cover. It's going to be a battle of attrition, it seems. And I think that nice use of the flak half-track, pushing away those squads. I love this squad is hiding in the bushes behind this. These don't know they're there. Could be very lethal. It's going to be lethal for everyone there.
Causing trouble, trying to take one of our points. An engineer unit is ready for action.
What a trade. What a trade. That was, I think that was overall better for the British player. He killed 3 or 4 models. I think it was 4, which is about 100 manpower worth, and he only lost 2 himself, which is only about 50 manpower, so very minor trade, but ultimately I think it was better for him. Like these smoke grenades by the that's coming from the infantry support gun. It's trying to deny vision to that heavy machine gun. It also, you know, it denies vision to everything, so if you can deny vision with something like this, you know, anti-tank weapon before you move in with a vehicle, that can be extremely effective. British player just destroyed this tank wreck here so that it can't be used as heavy cover. And putting in a mortar emplacement, so this thing is going to be able to range a huge portion of the map. It can probably hit... I think it can probably hit as far as this. Oh, you can see the line on the ground there. So it can't quite hit this house here. Definitely can't hit that support gun, but it's got a pretty nice area. So I'd like to see a grenade here, or maybe just close the distance with this squad. He's going to try and squad wipe it. He wants the squad to come out of the house, and now he's going to shred it. He didn't quite do it there. So as expected, our British players added on a Comet tank. So he went ahead and teched into hammer tactics and then added on that comet tank.
Damned
I really
enemies
like
trying
that.
to
So
take
the
a point
comet
from us.
tank, it behaves like a panther in a lot of ways. It's fast, it's agile, it's got a great turret rotation speed, and it's got a really big gun that can penetrate pretty much any armor that the German can bring to bear, including the heaviest of Tiger tanks. Meanwhile, our German player has continued to save up fuel. I think that's a good idea in this instance. I don't think medium tanks are going to get anything done for him here. And again, getting value out of this universal carrier. I mean, this thing has just been a force on this map. 20 kills. That is a lot of damage. So I want to check the Germans. I don't think he's added on any other buildings. That comet getting some value there. This heavy machine gun being effective from this house because those bushes were cleared earlier in the game. It's actually a great place for these Volksgrenadiers. Those shells are just running into that stone wall there and getting nothing done. Oh, so the weakness of this comet tank is its health. It doesn't have as much health as a lot of its counterparts in this weight class, but it makes it up for it with mobility and high armor. And the British player is clearly intent on locking down this whole bottom section. He's going to ignore the top of the map for the rest of the game, probably. Except with this comet tank, which I definitely don't mind. That's great use of that tank. I mean, this thing's got crazy mobility, so if he needs it to swing down to the south side of the map, he can do that easily enough. He is managing to deny his opponent this munitions point, which I would say at this stage in the game isn't a big deal. And I was just commending our German player for not spending his fuel on medium tanks, because I actually do think he needs to get up to those larger tanks. And he called in a Panzer IV. And that's the death of that universal carrier. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. But he had had enough. The German player had had enough. So the infantry support gun continuing to barrage this mortar emplacement. Common tank being pushed away by those anti-tank weapons. Bit of a scuffle for the middle here. German player ready with that anti-tank gun,
The enemy are attacking in
wanting to
emplacement.
push away any armor that the German player tries to bring up in the middle there. Gonna cap that bottom point. He's actually managed to capture the top victory point with just a Royal Engineer squad, backed up by this comet tank. But that is not some firepower you want to walk into. You know, I think that this British player has been up here a long time with that comet tank, and the German player has responded with force. It might be time for that tank to roll down here, maybe sneak in, try and get some damage in this area before it backs out again. Getting a Royal Engineer squad out here to repair this mortar emplacement before it goes down. Nicely done. And adding on even more trenches. Now the problem with these trenches is that the German player could theoretically stroll in here and steal one of these away. I mean, he'd be doing it against overwhelming firepower, so we won't see that, but it certainly could happen. And once again, I don't know if the British player is definitely doing this on purpose. He is driving through these hedges so that his units can pass through this area, and more importantly, grant vision in this entire area. So now an AT gun can sit right here and have vision of this entire space. Yeah, he just cleared out the last of it. And you'll notice that he's not clearing out his own hedges because he wants to keep this mortar well hidden. So, excellent shaping of the map by this British player. I really love this playstyle. Opening up the map, building it to suit his needs. And just more and more trenches. He's up to 5 trenches here. Crazy. He wants to be able to move between trenches if he needs to. If he's getting barraged or maybe a grenade gets thrown into one of the trenches, he can back up. That's really interesting. I don't think I've seen trench spam like this before, and I really like it.
We're losing a capture point.
Looks like the German player added on a second infantry support gun to try and deal with the very static playstyle from this British player. I think that this German player is going to need artillery, or potentially something like the Sturmtiger to root this British player out of that area. Being aggressive with his assault sections here.
Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
Getting all sorts of kills. I think they need to get out of here, though. Bet 5 on those Volksgrenadiers. So like I was saying early in this game, the German player got behind a bit by losing 3 squads, but he's bounced back nicely. I mean, he's got 1 Bet 5 squad, he's got 4 Grenadiers in general, which is plenty enough for map control. He's added on the support guns, he's added on a couple AT guns, he's got a tank, he still has his flak half-track alive, even though he's not really getting any value out of it. The fact that he has it alive is really important. It's another resource at his disposal. Our British player is adding on another Comet tank inbound. So that's gonna spell trouble for this German player. I don't know. I mean, I don't think his. I don't think that Panzer IV is going to be able to stand up to that sort of firepower. I believe those were high explosive rounds from the... Yeah, those were high explosive rounds from the mortar emplacement there. Pushing in with those tanks. That's not a place he wants to be.
The supply line's broken. You now have a new Comet tank.
Second Comet tank is on the field right now.
We're losing a capture point.
Big push by the British player. He might wipe. If he wipes that, that's really bad. Barely gonna get out of there. Nice, great use of this flak half-track. I mean, he's sitting back at maximum range here, defending his AT guns from those infantry. Really well done.
Upgrade finished. Very handy.
And this is looking pretty scary for the German player. He is adding on his final supply half-track this game. Where is his Panzer headquarters? That's what I want to know. I must be blind. I am completely and totally blind. Here it is. Yeah, so I like this placement from him. It's really far back so that the British player has to commit a lot of his forces to this area if he wants to destroy this. And this thing is not a slouch. It's got that Panzer authorization, giving it access to the flak cannon on top of the building. Totally decimates infantry and most light vehicles. And he's got his AT up here to sort of protect it. These AT are camouflaged. The British player can't see them until he's right on top of them or they fire at him. And this thing is locking down both his fuel and the cutoff point for his fuel. So he is rest assured that he will continue to have resources coming in without a major effort by the British player. And the British player is not interested. I mean, both players seem to be content with their halves of the map right now. The British player is making adventures out to try and wipe squads and, you know, just steal away a little bit of extra territory. And I was literally about to say that I would like to see some mines from the British player, and right on cue, he's adding one in. I think that's great. And if he can get that in without being seen, that would be huge. I think he's going to get it.
Causing trouble, trying to take one of our points.
Yep, retreating out of there. So those mines, those are definitely going to wipe some squad members as the German player tries to push out, and it would be pretty bad if you walked 2 squads into it. Looks like that is very likely to happen. Love this placement too. I mean, it's... Yep. He's fortunate he didn't lose multiple members from both squads. Great little hiding spot for this comet tank behind the house, and he's pissed. He's chasing. That is effectively a blitz. I think it's called an engine overload or something like that. It is called engine war speed, emergency war speed. Basically a blitz. Makes the tank move more quickly. And now he's got both comet tanks over here. He wants to kill that Panzer IV. The German player is going to need to hide that Panzer IV away, because this British player wants it. And he's trying to destroy the base defenses from the German player. This can be pretty scary if you lose your base defenses like this, because then infantry can start harassing your base. He's gonna keep going. Yeah, he was thinking about it. He probably was aware that the German player was moving down with his anti-tank weapons. So. And destroying some of these trenches. Actually, a bunch of them are pretty low, but there's still more where that came from. Looks like our German player wants to make a push here. He's throwing down some smoke in this area. Yep, he's going hard for that middle point. It's actually disguising those comet tanks. Panzer IV is up top, but he's being pursued by the comets. And that is not a place you want to be as a tank. And this flak half-track is also going to have to get out of here. But intelligently bringing up his AT guns. There's another mine on the road there. Actually, there's mines... Is that another one? Yes. Oh, this is a German mine there. And actually, the British player almost drove over it. That might be a dead comet. Oh, what a bounce! What a bounce. So the German player... That was a heat round. I don't know if you noticed that particular shot from the Panzer IV was extra shiny. But it actually... So... Despite him firing a heat round, which has extra penetration, it bounced off the rear armor of that comet tank. That was such an unlucky bounce from the German player there. And he's going to get this vehicle repaired back up. So the thing about emergency war speed is you can only use it once until Royal Engineers repair the tank. So you have to actually repair the tank with Royal Engineers in order to get access to it. Man, he knows there's mines here, he just doesn't know where they are, so he's trying to attack ground to destroy them. He thinks they're over here, but they're actually up just a little bit. And there's, yeah, nice, these are anti-tank mines, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. And the German player's sneaking up these AT guns. He's gonna get a couple shots in there. Nice. Oh, but the Panzer IV trying to chase hit a mine, which is actually okay because he tanked the mine for his King Tiger, which is now on the field. Really happy to see this King Tiger from our German player. That thing can definitely take on both comet tanks. The thing he has to be careful about is the superior mobility of the comet tanks. They can drive around behind this King Tiger and deal some serious damage. I'd actually like to see him take that Tiger into this area here and try and make a push through the middle. I think that the German player has enough strength to push into the middle here. Not great. You never want to give your rear armor to your opponent, and that is a dead squad. I think that was a Tommy squad. That was not one of the assault sections. Barely getting out of there with that squad. Man, just really well played. by both players, really. I mean, the German player has done a phenomenal job holding on despite the abuse that he's suffering at the hands of this British player. British player, likewise, playing aggressive and just absolutely abusing his position in this game. He gets a little bit of ground, he puts mines down, he wipes squads by sneaking around behind them, so I love it. That was almost a very unlucky plane crash. So when planes crash, they can actually damage... They can do some serious damage to whatever they land on. And in this case, he actually destroyed a trench.
Enemy action has destroyed our forward position.
And I really like those pushes. I think that the German player needs to keep doing that. Just sort of push in, destroy anything. Trenches. Get some shots to some tanks. It really doesn't matter if he moves up even a little bit. Get something done. I really like it. Where did that anti-tank gun die? Oh, right here. It got hit by those support guns. That's a dead squad. That was really, really unfortunate for our German player. Lost a Vet 5 squad. This is the stage in the game where you start to lose squads pretty regularly. So I'm not surprised, but he definitely misplayed there. And this infantry section going after these support guns, if he gets that tier 3 one, he's going to be really happy. But the German's not going to let that happen. He's moved in both his vehicles. He is... Oh my goodness, I missed a comet death. And I think the Volksgrenadier squad died as well. So I think that was a good trade. That was definitely a good trade for the German player, killing a comet tank. It was actually the low veterancy one. So, you know, silver lining for the British player there. This tank hitting a mine behind that church. Oh man, this is going to be a war of attrition, and this might be a really long game. It's all going to hinge on this center point. Both players not really interested in the north side. And I would say that the German player, is barely interested in the south side. Oh, but this is an undefended mortar, and that could go down here. So brace structure to keep it alive. That won't save it 100%, but you can see the drastically reduced damage it's taking. But one more and it's done. What a play! Where is the British player's forces? They're all in his base. Everything he had was back at base because of that aggressive push he made. Wow, that was major, and now he's destroying trenches with these tanks. That is so smart. And it looks like our British player added on a Firefly, so this is a great answer to both of these tanks. Do you see how this thing has crazy range? It outranges both of these tanks. It comes equipped with rocket launchers. Well, you have to upgrade it, which he already has. These 60-pound tulip rockets, which are effectively shots of their own. They are pretty inaccurate, but against a tank as large as a Tiger, both rockets can be expected to connect. And in theory, this thing can dish out a lot of damage to whatever he needs it to. Totally ineffective against infantry, and it's also somewhat of a glass cannon. This thing can only take 3 or 4 shots from a tank its own size. Oh my goodness, I believe that was another mine. So this squad walked up here, stepped on a mine, walked right into this infantry section that destroyed, dealt a ton of damage to it, and then it backed up into it. As it retreated, it ran into another mine. Wow. Wow, wow. I can't believe the German player is still in this game. I thought he was out multiple times. Not out, but he was way, way behind for a while there. And actually, he's behind now in the sense that he has no infantry. He's adding on these Obersoldaten, which are elite infantry. They are really hard to kill, and they are very accurate, very lethal. At any range, they're most effective. Well, like I said, they're effective at any range. So, see what he wants to do with that. And actually, against these infantry sections, these assault infantry sections, he's gonna want to keep that Obersoldaten in the back line or far away. Yeah, like right there. That's perfect range for that Obersoldaten. British player adding on a sniper. It's almost like he I actually really, I think this is a brilliant add-on because, oh, there's the rockets from the Firefly there. One hit, one missed. Oh, is that squad dead?
The forward position has been destroyed.
Oh, artillery.
Anti-tank gun ready to do some damage.
That was the... I believe that was the tank commander? No. What was that? I am not sure what that strike was. Was it the tank? Was it the Tiger? Oh, it was. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so the Tiger called in that coordinated barrage there, pushed the AT gun back, destroyed a trench. Wow, what a game. Really fun to watch. I love these attrition games sometimes. They can be really fun. Here comes more smoke, because I think he wants to push in here. So I was saying I really like this sniper because the small squad sizes from the German player are really susceptible to oh my goodness, he wiped his squad on retreat. That was one of the assault sections as well. Obersoldaten hanging out back here in some of those craters, dealing damage at range. That is a dead squad there. No way it makes it out. Yep. German player continuing to add on these elite infantry. What a bloodbath. What a bloodbath. Keep trying to talk about the sniper. Just a really solid pick. It's going to be able to pick off these Obersoldaten. It also has pretty good range and utility. It can throw down coordinated fire from the headquarters. I would say that is the one and only weakness I've seen from our British player this game, is that he's not calling in artillery from his base. It can be extremely effective at denying an area to your opponent. So, Firefly is actually, yep, I was going to say it was in extreme jeopardy there. As you saw, it only took 3 shots to bring that thing down, and that is really big. And this British player is going for it. He's called in the war speed here. He's trying to get behind this Tiger, trying to get around its turret rotation. Nicely done by the German player to try and deny that. He's calling in the airstrike there, and that is a dead Tiger tank at the cost of a Comet. So both players trading away their heavy tanks to get that done. That trade most certainly favors, absolutely favors the German player. Losing 2 tanks is really expensive. But as I say that, I look at the British player's fuel and I realize that he actually has a decent amount of fuel in the bank. So he's not out of it yet. And actually, the German player is in a similar position. So there's going to be a lull here while both players build up their heavy tanks again. British player is searching for the Panzer IV. He wants to know where it is because he's got these aircraft in the air. Where's that flak truck? Oh, way over here. So I was going to say it might be interesting for him to take this truck and bring it sort of in the middle here. That truck can actually shoot down those planes, which we saw earlier in the game. More mines from our British player here. He is in it for the long haul.
There's a Comet tank ready to go.
Attrition. That is the way he wants to play this game. Actually added back on another infantry section, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're missing out on the veterancy, but with how many squad wipes are happening in this game, it's not super killer for him to do that.
The squad's gone.
And the Obersoldaten just wiped something.
Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
Not sure what it was. But look how effective these are at dealing with these raid sections. Those assault sections from the British player. He kills half the squad before it gets to his units. And nice job by the Comet taking out that black half-track finally. You know, I like the effort from the German player to keep that flak track alive as long as he did, but he really didn't get much value out of it. I mean, that thing was only Vet 2. It's been alive for more than 20 minutes. And it spent most of this game
They have 100 points
hiding
remaining.
and not actually doing anything. But I'm probably being too hard on him. I mean, anything you can keep alive, and if it even continues to get a small amount of value, I think that's worth it. I just think he could have been a bit more aggressive with it, or just involved it in more of the skirmishes that were happening, potentially. I mean, he could park it right here, you know, lock down this whole area, potentially. I mean, not for long. If the Comet got involved, he'd have to back up. This is a risky proposition from the British player. I think he knows that he killed a ton of units, so he's not feeling too bad about it. And the German player is actually down to a single AT gun, so he needs to get another one of those added on. He has enough fuel for a Tiger, so I think we're going to see a Tiger really, really soon. As soon as the German player realizes.
HQ report the enemy have 75 points.
He's focused on something else right now. He really needs to call in that Tiger. And the reason I say that is, you know, time is limited. The Tiger's slow. It has to get up to the front line here. Yep, there it is now. He just called it in. Oh, is it 270 fuel for the Tiger? It might be 270. Yeah, so he didn't actually have enough fuel until right at that last second. I always think it's 260, but it's 270. So. All is quiet for now. German player is gearing up. I think that's smoke. Yep, he's calling in smoke. I think he should call in smoke in this area too, but it looks like he's just going to smoke off this whole area, and then he's going to push in here. This Comet's going to try and put a stop to that, but of course the Tiger's there to back him up. Panzer IV needs to come in. Here it is. Here's the AT gun setting up, shooting at the Comet. I wouldn't mind seeing this Panzer IV chase a little bit. I don't know if I would chase with the Tiger. It's so immobile. That was a heat round there, doing huge damage to that. I think that might be a dead Comet. He is using the war speed. He might miss. Oh, he hit him. Wow. Alright, and he called in an artillery strike with his Tiger tank. Killed an AT gun. This AT gun's trying to move up to stop him. Meanwhile, the German player has captured the center point and stopped the bleed. I'd like to see another call-in. Can he do multiple? He doesn't have munitions for it. He's used everything that he has to make this push happen. That Tiger tank should get out of there just fine. This anti-tank gun is shooting at it, but this thing has such thick armor and so much health that it can actually tank these shots no problem. And the British player immediately counter-pushing and trying to secure that area. Heavy, heavy losses by both players there. Lost both, so the British player lost both of his heavy machine guns. He lost one of his AT guns. He lost his Comet. I think that's the end of it. And he is struggling for manpower. You can see that he's got no manpower. I really like this. Moving in with that Panzer, destroying this heavy machine gun, denying that to his opponent, because his opponent definitely does not have the manpower to build another one of those, at least not right now.
You now have a new Comet tank.
What a game. What a game. And this is the 4th Comet this game. The 4th Comet. That is a lot of Comets. I'm surprised the German player didn't hit the mines back here.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it. Very bracing up there.
And the German player is pushing in a little bit, trying to secure some of this territory on that side. I don't mind that. Oh my goodness, look at this Comet tank just getting totally wrecked by that Tiger. Here comes another shot. Oh, he needs to back up. Needs to back up. Bounce. Wow, and that's Comet for you. I mean, it bounced the highest caliber gun there is. Well, not exactly, but it is a monster gun, and it just bounced it like it was nothing. While that was happening, the Panzer IV did hit the mine that I was surprised he hadn't hit yet. These infantry support guns, holy cow, I mean, they must have a ton of kills. Yeah, 3 buildings, 9 infantry. This one's probably got something similar, if not more. 7 infantry, 2 buildings. Those are all trenches. But, you know, destroying trenches, I don't think these things cost manpower. It has been a long time since I've built a British trench, so I don't actually know. Man, this has turned into a doozy of a game. What a fun game to watch. Quiet right now while both players lick their wounds. And, you know, the British player has a ton of fuel, but no manpower. Continuing to barrage back here. There's another building destroyed. I just heard a mine go off.
We're losing a capture point.
Not sure where that was. Oh yeah, it was right here. There's another one right there. There's 2 mines right in that same spot. Right, infantry's at risk. And then now they're dead. Wow. What a hit. Oh, a nice, that was an important bounce by the AT gun there. That tank could have been in serious jeopardy. Really nice placement of mines to kill that squad on retreat. I mean, he killed it coming in, and then he killed it going out. And, you know, the German player does have a reasonable amount of manpower, but everything matters at this stage in the game, so every loss matters. Squad wipes especially. And adding on another Firefly, I like that. Bit cheaper than the Comet. He doesn't need the mobility of the Comet, he needs the firepower of a Firefly. He also needs the range of a Firefly. Man, I've just been so impressed by these infantry support guns. They haven't died, so they've maintained that veterancy this whole game. These things are lethal. They're accurate, and they're lethal. I mean, just, you know, the things don't miss their targets anymore. Look how narrow that barrage area is. It's incredible. You can accurately destroy trenches now. Tiger moving up here. More mines from a British player. I think that's a good choice. He's doing everything he can to stay in this game. He's spending all of his munitions. Those are in some serious jeopardy. Good retreat. I think we're going to see an attack ground there to destroy those mines. This Comet is in some serious danger right here, but the German player's not overcommitting, which is a good choice by him. At this point, I don't... I'm debating whether this British player should destroy these hedges here. You know what? I actually think these might be indestructible by tanks. Similar to these trees over here, cannot be destroyed by tanks. A quarter pounder just bouncing its shell right off the front of that huge Tiger tank. So the British player's in an interesting position here. He needs to score 50 points. He needs to drain his opponent for 50 points. So he's got to control he's got to control 2 points for 150 seconds, or he's got to control 3 points for 50 seconds. There's no possible way that this German player will let him control 3. So his only option is to control 2. I think he needs to spread out a bit here. Maybe bait the Tiger tank or in the Panzer IV into a place on the map where his infantry are not, and his infantry can sneak around and try and capture these victory points. It's going to be very difficult for the British player to wrest control of this area away from the German. I mean, just look at the force that he's bringing here, and he's adding on a Jagdpanzer, which is an anti-tank. It's a tank destroyer. Anti-tank tank, as I like to say.
The AT gun you ordered is ready.
British player adding on another AT gun. I think I would have preferred if that had been another tank, since he almost has the manpower for it. I would have preferred another squad to an AT gun here. And the reason is simply so that he can secure more points on the map more easily. And this is really, really bad for the British player. But the German player, again, not overcommitting. That squad's going to have to get out of there without capturing the point. That's actually really important for the... Really important for the British player that he didn't lose that point. But I also think it was really important for the German player not to lose the squad because of the manpower situation. Posting up with a Obersoldaten on that north side, that squad can take on any one squad from the British player, but I think the British player needs to send he's going to have to send multiple squads if he wants to get rid of it. Now this Comet is so mobile. This thing has, it's one of the most mobile tanks in the game. I really think he needs to be using his superior mobility with that tank. He needs to be popping in up top. He needs to be coming down bottom. He needs to be bouncing back and forth between sides of the map because the German player is going to control the middle. There's nothing that the British player can do about that. So he needs to use his superior mobility to try and control the outer points. I'd like him to... I think he should leave this Firefly down here with these AT guns. He needs to send that Comet up north. I mean, of course, he doesn't know this. He doesn't know... First of all, he doesn't know this Jagdpanzer's on the field yet. He doesn't know where all his opponent's forces are, but he can probably guess. But he's not even making the attempt, and I'm not sure why, is really what I'm getting at here. Yeah, he's sticking to his strategy. He's trying to stick to the strategy of... you know, being static, right? He's continuing to build these trenches. I think that's a mistake. These trenches have lived past. He needs to adapt to the current state of the map. German player getting down here, capturing this point. This is really important for him. Even decapping that point is important because now the British player is losing 2 points every 3 seconds. I think it's every 3 seconds. Let's do the math here. Tick down right there at 16, and I think it's going to tick down at 19, 20. So every 4 seconds, I guess? Not exactly sure. It used to, I could have swore it used to be every 3 seconds it would do the math. Alright, now this squad has a chance here, but again, these Obersoldaten are elite infantry, and they can probably take the squad on, especially running across the dirt like that. This fight does favor the British player. That Panzer IV is here. I mean, again, I'd love to see that Comet tank up here. I think he's added on another one. Yep, there's his... his 5th Comet tank of the game, and I think it's going to be really, really critical here. Losing that squad there was actually a disaster for him. So now what I think needs to happen is the British player needs to make a huge push all in one area. I think the time has passed for him to be spread out. He definitely does not have enough squads for it. And I say that, but this German player's got some really, really nasty tanks here. It's an important miss, leaving this Comet tank at nearly full health. Here's some artillery coming in. Okay, that's really nice. Oh, it's not artillery, it's airplanes. This is going to be a big push. Oh man, if you could kill those support guns, that'd be big. But okay, this pushed the German player all the way back. Now he needs to capture this point. He needs to do nothing other than capture this point. Nice kill on the Panzer IV. That Jagdpanzer's going to kill the Comet. Okay, tank for tank. This is still okay for the British player. He needs to capture the middle point. This is a total disaster, him not capturing the middle point right now. He is capturing the top point, so take it back a little bit. But if you can control all 3 points for even 50 seconds, he has to control it for like less than a minute, and he'll win the game. Alright, German player's ticking really fast here. And the German player has to wait for these airplanes to get the heck out of here, which they just did. They just left the battlefield now. And I absolutely love that play by the British player. He did exactly what I said he should do, which is group up like that. And he used this strafing support to perfection to roll in there and push his opponent completely out of the middle. Now the German player is the one who has to push in. And he does have the units to do it, but this British player's ready. There's the artillery. This Comet's mad at that Tiger. Good hit.
Tally-ho!
Sherman Firefly can't get involved. Losing both of his AT guns is really big, but I think that is game over. Wow. What a game. What a game. Holy cow. What a fun game. Excellent, excellent finish by the British player. I mean, that's why this guy is number 9 in the world. He is top of the top when it comes to the British Army. And we saw that on display here. He added on stuff when he needed it. He played both aggressively and defensively. I mean, he used everything that the British Army had to offer. Trenches, mortar emplacements, comet tanks, fireflies, infantry support sections. I mean, he did everything that he needed to do. He was mixing in a variety of units. Oh my goodness, what a fun game to watch. And just look at the decimation here. I mean, this is just, it's just a completely annihilated map, which, you know, that's what I love about Company of Heroes. You can see where the fights were taking place, and this middle area is just completely destroyed. I don't think the German player necessarily did anything wrong. You know, he had a great comeback there at the end. He was positioning units in the right areas to try and defend. You know, I gave the British player a hard time for, you know, not calling in a tank and instead calling in an AT gun. It turns out he knew exactly how much time he had and what he needed to do, so hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as I did, and I will see you in the next video.